Awesome. So yeah, should have started recording earlier. So yeah, this is our code. This is the workspace that we'll be using, and so yes, adding Tailwind CSS. So when you click on get started on the Tailwind website, it brings you to the installation section of the whole documentation. So there are options of adding CSS Tailwind CSS to your project. So you could either go with using Vite, that's if you are using a Vite framework. Then you can go with Post CSS. You can go with using Tailwind CLI, or you can, here shows you how to add it to Next.js, how to add it to Laravel, to Next, and all of those other frameworks. But yeah, that's not where we're going. But where we are going is actually how to add it to your to CDN, and we're using CDN because that's what we're going to be using. So we're just going to grab, there's this particular script that we need to grab, which is this. Okay, so we're just going to grab this, copy it, go back to our HTML and paste this inside of the edge. So after saving this, automatically Tailwind CSS has been added to our our has been added to our code base, our project. So now let's just open this up. Let's form validation. Okay, now let's open our HTML up. Okay. Now if you give me a minute, let's get this here. Okay. So yeah, this is the form validation. Yeah, definitely there's nothing on here. So it's just going to look like this. So now to test the tailwind that it's actually working, let's just do this. Okay, to test the tailwind, we're going to give it a class of text red. Let's go with 500 and see what it looks like. Okay, yeah, sure. I need to reload. You see that tailwind is working and tailwind is in action. Okay, so now I said we're going to be doing form validation. So basically we need to build out what a form input. So for this, we are not going to be dwelling too much on design. So you have to bear with whatever design we come up with. So I'm going to go with BG. Let's go with blue. Let's see what 400 looks like. And then it's going to have an height of screen and width of screen. Come here, reload. Okay, not totally bad. Okay, let's just go with 300 and let's see what it looks like. Okay, yeah, this is better. Now in here, we want to have another div here. Maybe not div, maybe the form element rather. Yeah. Yeah, let's come here. Let's do flex items center and justify. Can someone tell me why I'm doing item center and justify center? Anybody?
Stay in the middle.
So yeah, because I want to put the form element, this particular form element, I want to push it to the center of the screen. So to see that, let's give it a BG white, and then it should have padding. Let's go with rounded of 2XL, and then it should have padding on the y-axis of let's go with 8, and padding on the x-axis of 5. Let's go with this. Come back here, reload. Yeah, you can see that this white thing that looks like as if is that looks like what I don't know is at directly the center of the screen. So now let's start adding content to the form. First thing first, we want the form to have an header of login. Okay, come back here, reload. Okay, it's there. And then now, so now let's change the font. Let's select a good font. So for fonts, we're going to be using Google Fonts as fonts.google.com. as fonts.google.com. So here, I don't know the fonts that we can actually use. So let's think of a font to use. Let's think of a font to use. Okay. Let's go with Playfair. Yeah, let's go with Playfair. So we're going to get fonts and then we're going to get embed. So it shows us the code. So I can just copy this. Yeah, let's just copy this. Let's just copy this. Put it here. I selected only Playfair. Why am I saying Minito Sun also? Sorry, hold on a minute. I need to remove Minito Sun. I only want Playfair. So yeah, undo this and paste this now. Yeah, this is Playfair. So we have Playfair in our code now. If I reload this now, okay. Um, so for this, I might want to write, sorry, I'm not having it here. So yeah, I'm going to create a CSS folder because we want to write a little bit of CSS. I'm going to call this style.css. And what am I trying to style? It's the paragraph that is going to add the class of login. And what do I want to do to it? I want to do font family to be Playfair. Okay, let's see this. Oh, yes, so I've not linked the CSS here. So let's link our CSS here also. So link CSS. We're going into the CSS folder. Yeah, so this should work. Um, hold on. Oh, sorry, I've not added the class of login here. Why is the font not applying? Still having sans serif. It's not applying the font. Why? Playfair display. Are we missing something here? Okay, let's just leave this and see. Yeah, definitely this is not necessary. This is for when you're using it in your framework, which we are not. So why is the font not applying? Um, okay, so let us do too much on that. The font is not applying. We're going to fix that later. So let's move to the. So now we already have this. So we want to increase the size of the login text. Let's go with text Excel. Let's see what it looks like. It's not big enough. Let's just go with 2XL for now. Okay, it looks cool. And then also, what else do we want to do? Now we want to now add the actual inputs, okay, of type text. Yes, sure. And then it's going to have a BG white, rounded or XL. And then also it should have BGY rounded Excel. Let's see what this would look like. Oh, okay, because it's BGY, it is not showing. Okay, so now let's swap things around. Our background is going to be white now, while the form background now is going to be blue. Yeah, this is better, I think. So, and then this text is also going to be text white. Okay, awesome. Now, coming down to the form, we want this form to be a little bit wider. Okay, we want it to be a little bit wider and a little bit longer. So we're going to just come into the input itself, give it an height of say 50 pixel. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, cool. And then we can give it a width of, let's go with 200 pixel. See what that looks like. No, that's not looking like what we want. Okay, yeah, this is good. So this is good. And then also it's gonna have a placeholder of, sorry, it's gonna have a placeholder of enter your username. Guys, please, if you have question at any point, you can ask now, please. If you have a question at any point in time, please do well to ask your question. Yeah, someone is raising their hand. Who is raising their hand? Who is raising their hand?
It's me,
Uh,
sir.
okay,
Agbola.
Agbola, yeah. Go on, ask.
Yes, I wanted to ask, why you imported that CSS? Is it meant to
Yes.
be like slash CSS?
Okay, so to import the CSS,
Yeah, this place. You press
right?
slash the CSS folder. Is that slash
So
meant
yeah,
to be?
the reason why we put slash here is because we are going into another folder. Okay, so if we were picking the CSS file right from in here, then we don't need to do slash CSS. Then we can just do this.
Yes, you will just do styles.css. But I thought if you want to take something from a file, you're meant to write CSS, then slash. Like maybe that's why the CSS is not applying because of that slash
Hey, what is it?
behind the CSS. Maybe that's why it's not applying because of the slash behind the CSS. This
Oh, you
one.
mean this slash?
Yes.
Okay, let's see that. Okay, yeah, you're very much right, actually. Yeah, that's why it's not applying because of the slash. Awesome. Oh, someone is feeling like awesome, awesome. That's cool. Thank you. So, going to be pushing the content of this input a little bit inside because we don't want it to be jump packing with the edge of we don't want it to be jump packing with the edge of the input. So we're going to do padding X of 5. So it's pushed it a little bit inside. I think this is too, it is not too much actually. No, it's not too much. It's okay. So yeah, padding X of 5. Also, what else do we need to add here? So now we need to now add the password input. But before we go there, these texts are jump packing together. These borders are jump packing together. So we can either decide to give this margin top, okay, which will actually push this which will push this login a little bit up. But then that would mean that for every element we want to add inside here, we would need to add the margin top, add the margin top. So there's a particular there's a particular tailwind utility that adds the margin for you by default. So that's the space. So when you want to add space on the y-axis, you do space y, whatever the size you want to add. Let's go with 5. And if you want it on the x-axis too, you just replace this y with x. So if we save this, reload this, you see that. So when I have a new element in here, I don't have to give it padding top. It automatically what just apply. Something is wrong here. Did I overwrite something? Oh yeah, sure. Something is wrong here. So can someone tell me what is wrong here? Actually, yeah. Let me even bring that. Yeah, can someone tell me what's wrong here? Anybody?
The input is
Yeah,
breaking.
can you go back to the data?
To the code, okay.
So the form is not a flex box.
Exactly. God
The
bless. The form is not even if it's a flex box. Yeah. So this is the answer that I was expecting actually. So inputs. Yeah, guys, are we together, please? The inputs are inline elements. So let me just close this so that we can see what I'm saying. You see that inputs are inline elements. So if you want them to come in the column, you need to specify that. So that's why we'll now go inside our form and say flex, but what flex whole, and reload this. We see that. Okay, so like I said, inputs are inline elements. So they would always want to stand in front of each other. Okay, so if you want them to start beneath each other, you need to specify that. Okay, guys. So so we need to now change this input type to password. That's one. Sorry, that was one. And also you need to change the label to enter your password. That's two. And what else do we need to do here? Nothing. And then let's reload. Okay. So when we type our username, it works. And when we type our password, protected. Awesome. Cool. So now, next thing I want to do now is our button. So we could either use input type of what button. This works. This works fine. Or we could either, or we should use what the button itself. Input type. Okay, let me just do that. Let me just show you the two. Submit. Submit. Okay, and then this one also is going to be uh submit. No, this is not right. Middle type submit. It's supposed to be an attribute of no, no. Mm, so middle type submit button rather it's supposed to be if it's not placeholder, it's not text either. There's no text. Okay, so let's just do something real quick. Let's do something real quick. Compute type button. Okay, yeah, MDN of course. So input type button, what it takes in is value exactly. It's not text. So what this is supposed to be is value. Let's remove this one. Save, reload. Yeah. So we have two submit button here now. This is a button. This is also a button. Okay. So there's one thing that is actually common in the new updated version of Tailwind. Okay. So which is that your buttons now don't have the cursor pointer by default again. You need to specify it. You need to make it have it. Okay. So that's why in all of my code, I used to do this. Um cursor to pointer, and I used to do in case you are using this also. Sorry, I used to do this also. It's just literally the same thing. So I can grab this, put it here. Yeah, and then when you now come back now, you can see your cursor now has what the pointer. Guys, I did something here now. I need someone to explain what I just did on this place for me. Guys, are we together, please? I need someone to explain what I just did here. Button, this part and this part. Can someone explain what I just did here, please? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Can someone explain? You guys are not talking, no?
Sir.
Yes.
Let's say because the two classes have the same code, so you separated it by a comma. So both the first class and the second class will be what will take that particular this particular style
God
that you put.
bless you. God bless you. So, button, an input type of button, I want them to always have what the pointer of the cursor of what pointer. So what I did here is that I combined the two class names together, and then they would all have this. So in essence, it's something what I'm trying to say. This is a combinator selector. It combines the class. So if I want another class to have it, I just need to separate it by comma and put the class name here, or put the element name, or put whatever here. Okay, so that's how you combine two elements together so that it can have one styles. Okay, so yeah. So what else do we want to do here? Like I said, we're not dwelling on design. What we're dwelling on is the interactiveness. So yeah. Now let's put, because we want our username to be compulsory, so we're going to put a required property here, same as the password. Okay. So reload this. Now try to submit. Okay. Why is this one not telling me that? Inbuilt type button. Okay, let's see what the MDN is saying. Um, MDN is not saying anything special. Okay, MDN is not saying anything special, please. Okay, nothing special here. Okay, nothing is special here. So let's just go. Let's just go back here. So now we have our button. Now we want to style this button also. How better can we style this? Please, no go vex. So we want it to have, we don't want it to have a full width actually. We want it to have a width of say 70%. MX Auto. Can someone tell Nkechi, what does this MS Auto does before we actually look at what is it looks like? What does MS Auto, MX Auto does? Is Nkechi on the score? Yes, she is. MX Auto, what does it mean?
Is the maximum, to take the shape or the size of the screen.
Mm, no, no.
No.
Abola Victor. Abola Usman or Victor.
Sir,
Can anyone? So what do you say?
MX, it is used to align it on the x-axis. You want to align it to the center. It should
Oh,
take equal space on both left and right.
exactly. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. So that's what basically it means. So we gave the button a particular, we gave the button a size, and now we want it to be centered. We don't want it to just, so let me just show you what it looks like first before we let's go with blue off. Let's go with 700. Now let's remove this MX Auto and let's see what it looks like. You see this? So what will make it go to the center of the screen is the what? The MX Auto. You see that? So MX Auto is going to say that, okay, have equal size. Now, regardless of whatever your size is, after taking your size, just make sure you share the remaining space equally on both of your sides. Okay, that's basically what MX Auto means. So next thing we want to do here is we want to have text of what? Text of white, white, mhm. And then we want to have rounded of let's go with XL. No, let's go with LG. And then we want to have a padding on the y-axis of 2. You know, yeah, this looks I mean good enough, right? Yeah, this looks good enough. Okay, so now let's now get to the JavaScript part of things. Okay, now let's get to the JavaScript part of things. First thing first is we want to be able to um trigger an action when this form is filled. First thing first, thank God, this form is actually checking that yes, you need to put this and then you need to put this. So if I do test and I do test 1, 2, 3, yeah, what happens? Nothing happens. We can just see that it's reloaded. So the reason why it's reloaded is because it's inside a form element. So if I put this inside if I make this into a div element, give me a minute. We don't need this. Then change this auto to a div element. So reload. When I fill this now test and do test 1, 2, 3, click on it now. You can see that it's not happening. Nothing is happening. So the reason why that actually reloaded earlier was because it was what? It was the form element. And this required, yeah, would only work when your input is inside a form element. If I put my input inside a div element and I put required, it's not going to validate it. Okay, so that means that if you want to check for a required field, you would want to put it inside a form element. Okay, or when you get to the JavaScript framework, then you can do some interactiveness there. Okay, now let's go on. Let's go on. So now what do you want to do here now? So hold on, let me just reload this. Yes. So now what do you want to do here now? We validate it. You cannot submit without imputing. Awesome. Now, what do we want? Next is when you click on this submit, we want something to happen. How do we do that? So we need to give this form. Sorry. We need to give this form. Let's give it an ID of login form. Okay. Copy this now. We're going into our words, our JavaScript now. So what do we want to do here? We want to do const login form to be equals to what? Document dot get elements by who send this one. Let me just disable this. So what do you want to do now? I want to do what? Okay, let's use the name, the ID that I actually gave us. I actually like this login form. So let's change this. Awesome. So now login form to be equals to what? Document or get element by ID login form. Now what do we want to check? We want to check for login form dot add event listener. We want to add an event listener of what? Submit. So meaning that when you submit this form, what do I want to happen? I want this to happen. For now, let's just say console.log submitted. Sorry. Submitted. Is that how this is submitted? Anyhow. And then also we need to do what? We need to do e.prevent default. So the reason why we are doing e.prevent default is we want to prevent the default action of this form. The default action of this form is to just send the data away and reload. Now we don't want it to reload. Okay, guys, are we together, please? We don't want it to reload. That is why I had to do what? E.prevent default. Prevent default. We use prevent default on link, on we use it a lot on any element. Okay, what it literally just does is it will prevent it from doing the default thing that it's supposed to do, just like the English prevent default. So what you are supposed to do, I'm not saying yo bro, don't do what you're supposed to do, come and do something else. That's what it does prevent default means. Okay, so now let's just try and fill this form and submit. Oh yeah, sure. Document that get element by add event listener submit. Okay, yeah, so the same thing with this. Yeah, so remove this JS. Agbola, thank you for that actually. So you've saved our life in that one too. Test at 1, 2, 3. See, we see that now. Submitted, and we see that the form did not clear. We see that the form did not clear, and it's actually logged it. So if I remove this, prevent e dot prevent default. Let's remove this. Okay, now let's refresh again. Test, test 1, 2, 3. Click this. It logged it, but the reason why you cannot see it is because it's reloaded. Okay, so that's why we always need to what do prevent default so that it does not reload. Okay, so now let's refresh now and let's test this again. Click. Yep, we see that submitted. Now, awesome. Well, first thing first, first thing we want to do is we want to get to what the value of this input form, these two inputs. Okay, we want to get to the what the value of what these two inputs. First thing first, we need to give it what an ID. Okay, we're giving it an ID of what? We're giving it an ID of what's this username? Yeah, username, and then we're giving this one an ID of password. Okay, so now what we want to do is when you submit your form, so now let's declare a function here. Um, let's declare a function of const handle submit to be equals to, so this is a function. Okay, now what do you want to do? We want to call this function whenever you are submitting. So that means all of these parts are not going to work here again. They will rather have come in here, events, and e dot prevent default. Okay, so I think yeah. So let's try this now. E dot prevent default console.log submitted again. Let's test this. Submit. It's submitted to also add double T. Okay, let's just put double T. Reload it now. Test. Test 1, 2, 3. Submit. Yeah, it works fine. Now, like I said, we want to grab the what? The value of this form. Want to grab the value of this input, rather, sorry, this input and the value of this input, and we're going to log it in the console. So let's just go on. How do we grab the value of the password input? You can do const, no, of the username first. Let's start the username. Username to be equals to what? Document dot get elements by ID. Get elements by ID. ID of what? Username. Okay, then we can now go with dot what? Dot what? What do you want to get here? Dot value. Get element dot document dot get element by ID dot inner text. No, it's not supposed to be inner text. It's supposed to be value. Here is the value. Okay, hold on. Let's just do this. Console dot log the input that you've gotten itself. Okay, now let's try this now. You have to redo it. This is why I don't like JavaScript, just pure HTML, because you always have to redo it all the time. So yes, this is what we got. We got the entire input. Oh yeah, sure. But why are we not getting the value? Username dot hmm. Okay, let's do this. Dot inner text. Let's see if this will give us. Now let's reload this again. Ouch. Then test 1, 2, 3. Submit this. Oh yeah, it does not. It did not give us. So let's go back to our MDN. Mhm. Okay. Let's go back to MDN. What we're actually looking for is the form. Let's go for form elements. We're going to form elements. Okay. Yes. So the reason why I'm actually not doing too much here, I could have actually just come here and list this, but I actually wanted to achieve the tailwind walkthrough is the reason why I actually did this, and then the fonts adding walkthrough. That's why I actually just did all of this that we did here because I wanted us to achieve that. I could have actually just come here and copy it, but yeah, that is that. So what we are actually looking for is this is the form elements. Now what we are looking for is I haven't seen what I'm looking for. I haven't seen what I'm looking for. I haven't seen what I'm looking for. Okay. I'm not actually seeing what I'm looking for. Uh, I'm not seeing what I'm looking for actually. Document or get element by ID. Just uh-huh. Dots. Why is dots inner? Where's the value? Inner value. Inner value is not showing. The value itself is not showing. Um, hold up. Okay, let's see this. Let's see what this looks like. I don't remember which of the property will give us the value. Okay. Okay. Um, Now we're getting null. Hmm. Okay, so let's do it this way. What we are going to do now is the new way of doing things actually. So we're going to slap an unchange function in here. Usually, yeah, I think that's what I'm missing out. Usually in JavaScript, in old school JavaScript, this was say 2016, 2017. We could actually do dot get value here, and you get the value. So now what we'll just be doing now is we're going to have a variable to hold the value of input, to hold the value of password as you are entering them, as you are entering this input here, the value. Let's just see what I'm saying now. So we're going to have const username, let's just call this should be equals to document, okay, does get elements by ID of username. Okay, so what do you want
So
to
I
do
think your
here?
screen has gone up.
Yeah, this one don't start today again. No, I'm still showing. My screen is still showing.
Okay,
Can
I
anyone
guess
else?
it's my network.
Can anyone else see my screen? Yeah, someone else can see my screen. Sorry, can you like? That would be Victor, right? You can leave the call and join back like immediately. So I think that should work.
It's already sharing.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
It's already showing. Okay, awesome. So now what do you want to for this? Want to do dot add event listener. Want to add event listener of what? On change. When it changes, what should happen? So let's declare a variable here. Say let's username. Uh, let's username value to be equals to what? An empty string. And let's call this one the password value. No. Password value to be this. Okay. So document.get element by ID, username dot add event listener. What event listener do you want to add to it? You want to add on change, and on change, what should happen? On change, it should add whatever value you have. Okay, username value plus equals e dot target dot value. Okay. E dot target dot value e dot target dot value. Hmm. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Or first, let's see what this looks like. Let me just comment this out. Let's remove this console log this. Let's log this first and see what we are getting. So that would need us towards reload actually. So and change. It's not working. Username. Username. Okay, no. Uh, sorry. Give me a minute. Um, uh, text username, ID username, and oh my god, oh my god. Okay, so this is it. Let's choose this const or undo. Yeah, someone is raising their hand. Go on, undo.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go on.
Why don't you want to use those values, sir?
Because the value is not working.
Uh,
Because the value is not working. Yeah.
so we have to do all this.
Yes, the value is not working. I don't know why the value is not working actually. This should actually work. I'm still concerned why it's not working. Okay, let's see this. Reload. Test. Test. It actually works, but it's not bringing out the suggestion was why I thought it was not working. Okay, so then let us go on the trail of this headache again. It actually works, the value. But why did it not suggest it? Dot value. I mean, this is just basic JavaScript. So why is it not suggesting it? I need to check my intelligence. And that will be later, sure. Anyways. So yeah, that value would actually work. So this is the edit that we were trying to ignore before. So that value actually works fine. So we can use it to get our value for username and use it to get our value for password. Yeah, this works fine. Why was my intelligence not working? So here now let's do something. Console.log Let's log our password. Okay, alongside with the no, sorry, the username first before the password actually. So let's put username here. Save. Let's come back here now. Reload. So let's have this to be test user and test 123. Submit. What do we have? Test. Can you guys see my console? Or is it tiny? So I think this should be better. So we have test user and we have test 123. Okay, so this way we've been able to what? Get the value from our inputs and also validate our input. Validating our input meaning that you just have to enter a valid input. Sorry, you have to enter a value here before you are able to what? Submit it, and we can see that, right? So if we have an input of type, let's do this, input of type email here, and then we name this to be email, and then email. There's something different between putting required on text, input type text, and putting required on input type email. Before I get to that, guys, do we have okay, Agbola, you're raising your hand here. Agbola,
No, sir. No, sir. Sorry, sir. I didn't take it down.
okay. So guys, up to this point, please, are we together? Do we understand what I've done so far? All the mago that I've done so far. Do we understand, please? People of God, though, the reason why we are in this class is for us to have a better understanding of things. So if you don't, please raise it now. I'm only getting reaction from Agbola. I'm not getting reaction from other people. Please. Everybody is saying okay. Okay, no problem. All right, cool. Cool. I'm actually happy that you actually get the points. Okay. So, but then let me run through something real quick. What we were trying to do earlier before we now come back to the dot value. So I was trying to use dot value here. I'm very sure we saw that, but it was not bringing the suggestion, and I was being skeptical that this might not work. So I was now looking for the right value, and actually it was supposed to be dot value. So all of the rally round that we've been doing since morning, we were just supposed to use dot value. Okay, dot value here would actually just help us to what? Get the value of that particular input, that element that we are targeting. Okay, it will help us to what? Get the value of that particular element that we are targeting. So if you have a paragraph, okay, you know these are inputs. That's why we can use dot value on them. But if you have a paragraph, you cannot use dot value on a paragraph. What will you use on a paragraph? Dot inner text. Okay, dot inner text is what you will use. Okay, so yes, so I've explained that. So now let's come back to this one that I was saying before I asked if we understood what we were saying. So here, when you use required on an email input, it's different from how it will react from it will be different from how it will react compared to when you use it on a text input. Okay, so what is the difference that I'm talking about? This is the difference that I'm talking about here. So if you have email input here, and then you try to submit, yes, definitely it's going to say this. But then if you enter just anything, it's still going to validate that it must have an at. And then if you just put at, it will now tell you that it must be a complete email. Let's now say Gmail. So if I try to submit this now, it's still going to validate it. It's telling me that no. So in essence, what I'm trying to say here is when you put require on an input type email, it will first validate that you enter something. That's one. Secondly, to validate that that input that you put there is actually a valid email. Okay, so you would now want to, I mean, on your own part, you would now want to do some advanced validation with your script. But I mean, this actually covers, I mean, enough validation for email for you. Okay. So yeah, that's that about the validation that I actually promised this. That's why I actually didn't forget. I promised this in the last class that we're going to do form validation. Was that what I promised? I knew I promised something in the last class that was what we're going to do first today. But I think it's form validation. It is not for form validation. You guys can remind me, please. Kichi, you have your hand raised.
Yes, I do. Thank you, sir. Please,
No.
what if you want to ensure that they put passwords that are like alphanumeric? You want to
Yes.
ensure that they
So
use that. Yes.
yeah. So here now we know here now. Yeah, we already got the value of our password. Then here now you now want to use a regex dot test. You now want to use a regex to now validate whatever input your user have put. So the reason why I'm not talking about that is because we'll not talk about regular expression. Okay, so that's why I'm not going to that part. So yes, definitely you can do that when your user enter this. Okay, you already have the value of the password here. Then you can now do dot what dot test rather and run a regular expression and to check if that password is actually valid. I mean, if it conforms with the your password structure. Yeah. Kechi, did
Okay.
I answer that?
Yes, yes, I did. Thank you.
Awesome. Victor Agbola, Brother Room, Anyatadi, are we all good? Guys, so no question, ba? Okay, awesome then. So now let's do something here. Let's now write. Nkechi, this will be the part where you were asking earlier. Let's write onto the DOM. Okay, so after, let me just remove this email here. Let me remove this email. So after you've logged in successfully, what do we want to do? We want to what should we do? What should we do? What should we do? I want us to change something. I want us to change a particular element. Um okay, so I think yes, someone is in the hand.
Yes, it's me again.
Yeah,
Please,
go on.
yes, before we go further, so let's assume this is a landing page or website.
Okay,
Yes, we've seen that in JavaScript, we see the whatever they impute right on the console, or we see what is
okay.
done on the console. If we want to collect this data, their emails and all that, where does it? Is there a place it can be structured, or how do we import them to
Okay,
something?
so this is
We
it, yeah.
usually import them.
Um
Okay.
yeah, again. So we are saying that let's put a real life use case, but that's what you're saying. So
Yes. Of course.
a real life use case of this would be when your user enters their username and their password this way, you've grabbed the username and password from here. Okay, you already have the values in here. So what you would want to do here now is to now send it to an API. Okay, so
Okay.
you have a search, you have whatever the URL is, and then you have the object that you're trying to send across here. So we've not thought about all of those things. Is the reason why I'm not overstepping the bond. We've not talked about API consumption. We've not talked about all of those things. That's why I'm not doing anything about it. But then we definitely would get there. Yeah. So a real life use case would be you've gotten the username, you've gotten the password. Now you want to send it to the backend. Remember that it is the backend that houses all of the our logic and our data. So you now want to send it to backend. Yeah. Backend would validate that. Okay, let me check inside our database. Is there anybody that has this username? Okay, if the person has the username, is the password correct with their password? If it is, it returns, then it will tell you, it will give you a response that um the user has successfully logged in and all of those things. Else, if it's not, then it's going to return incorrect password or incorrect email or password. Ah, okay, too much to drop off. Guys, are we good up to this point, please? Okay, so what I wanted us to do actually is to change this login now. Okay, so when you log in, I want us to change it to login successful. Okay, guys, this part is a little bit skeptical, but I mean, it's not actually hard. So so what we are going to just do here is we're going to now say if username is not equals to empty, that means if username is not empty and password is not empty, okay, what should you now do? Now we want to get this element that has a class name of what? Login. Okay, so now let's come here. I'm now going to say document dot get elements by, now we're using what? Class name of this. Guys, are we together, please? Hello, people of God. Hey, people, you are not talking. No. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Ah, you guys are making me scared. You guys are really making me scared. But anyways, so now let's see what this looks like first. So we already have our we already grab our login, the paragraph here. We already grab it into here. So let's see what it looks like. So now let's reload first. Okay, now let's fill this and let's just put any password here and submit. What do we have? We have, look at the login here, the login text here. So it's actually an array. Okay, we can see that it's an array of elements. So now we only want the one at the, we only want the first index because this is going to be one. So what do we now want to do to it? We now want to do what? Dot inner, not inner HTML, inner text. Okay, we want to change it to what? Login source successfully. English. Login successfully. Now let's remove this. Okay, now we can now get rid of this. Okay, now let's reload now. Now let's do test and let's just do one thing. Save this. You see that? You can see that, right? Login successfully. Guys, do we see that? Hey, my people are not talking. Hey, my people. Please, guys, are we good up to this point, please?
Yes, sir.
I don't like the way we are not making this class interactive, but I think we're going to call it a day here.
Sir,
So
please, can you
basically,
go again?
oh, okay, yeah, sure, why not? Yeah. So what we did here was, so this is it. We want to change the element that has the class name of login. So when you're using by element dot get element by ID, it gives you what? Just one element. But when you are using some selectors like get element by class name, get elements by tag name, and get element by query selector and query selector all, they will give you an array of elements. No, query selector will give you one element too. Sorry. But when you're using query selector all, will give you what? An array of elements. Class name will give you an array of elements. Tag name will give you an array of elements. Okay, so which is what we're having here. So that's why we have to do what? At the index of 0, meaning that the first one. And obviously, we are only expecting one element to add the class name of what? Login in here. Okay, now what do you want to change? We want to change the text that it is actually holding. Okay, we want to change the text that it is holding. We want to change it to what? Success this. So that's how we now have to do what? Dot inner text to be equals to what? Login successfully. Now let's do something real quick. Now, what do you want to do here? We want to now what? Change. We want to change. So you know when you successfully log in, this should not still be here. Your username and password should clear off. Guys, do we agree to that? Wait, hold on before I move on next. Victor, did I answer your question first? Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Oh, awesome. So now, next thing now we now want to do is when you log in, we want to clear this input off. We don't want this input to have these values again. So what do? It's just simply what we did here. Okay. So what we just do what? Do this same thing that we did here. We just do what? This dot value should not be equals to what? Empty. And this dot value should not be equals to what? Empty. So now let's see that in action. Reload, test, and then test 1, 2, 3. You see that? Now click it. You see that? Login successfully and it clears the value. Guys, are we good? People of God, are we good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if we are good up to this point, so we're going to call it a day here, and I'm going to see you in the next class. So by God's grace, we should have our LMS content, the new LMS content up Monday or Tuesday by God's grace. So let's please guys, let's do well to consume it and before the next class, please. All right, guys. I'm going to see you guys in the next class. So enjoy the rest of your
Okay.
weekend. Bye, guys.